Well, I don't know how to make it louder. So, 'tis what it is. It's not zero sound, it's just not super loud, but do 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 do. Hmm. Hmm. 1 second. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna listen to Binge Mode Harry Potter. Hmm. Don't remember my Spotify account. Hold on. '24 through '26. Come on.
YouTube Music is a new app that combines everything you expect from a streaming service with the magic. We know all about magic of YouTube to bring everything to life.
With YouTube Music Premium, you'll get ad-free music that plays with the screen off or while using other apps. Finally.
Get music whenever you want it, even if you're offline.
Download the new YouTube Music app today and start a free 30-day trial.
Spoilers for Harry
just
Potter and Half-Blood
$9.99 per
Prince.
month.
Ooh! Terms and restrictions apply.
Warning. And never have we so sincerely issued this warning. Binge Mode contains adult content.
In this episode, we will be discussing many events, including the moment when Harry got down by the lake. Including that moment down by the lake when Jennifer Weasley took Harry all the way deep, exploring every facet of the Harry Potter universe down by the lake. So if that's not the kind of thing you're into, exploring the wide canon of Harry Potter, please check out the Ringer NBA show.
One more warning. Binge Mode contains spoilers.
It does.
If you don't yet know why we're hiding our sherry bottles, please proceed with extreme caution.
And now, binge
Blowjobs.
mode. Oh, and now, binge mode.
Hold on. My face is in the way. I need to be
Yes, this is the place.
Said
smaller.
Dumbledore.
How can you tell?
Harry spoke in a whisper.
It has known magic.
Said Dumbledore simply. Harry could not tell whether the shivers he was experiencing were due to his spine-deep coldness or to the same awareness of enchantments. He watched as Dumbledore
There.
continued to
Just
revolve on
smaller.
the spot, evidently concentrating on things Harry could not see.
This is merely the antechamber, the entrance hall.
Said Dumbledore after a moment or two.
We need to penetrate the inner place. Now it is Lord Voldemort's obstacles that stand in our way rather than those nature made.
Again, big spoilers if you have not read Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Hello!
Yeah!
And welcome to Binge Mode Harry Potter.
That's right.
I'm Mallory Rubin, executive editor of TheRinger.com.
What a great website.
Joining me today, now that he's settled on the design for his Hungarian horntail chest tat.
I honestly might get it.
I think you should. I'll get the pygmy puff. It's perfect. It's Ringer Senior Creative.
That's right.
And your head pornsman, Jason Concepcion.
Mal, it's just more macho, just like Binge Mode Harry Potter. We're, like Ginevra Weasley, we're exploring every facet of the Harry Potter universe.
Boy, are we.
Whether you're in the mood for a spell, for friends, or for enemies, please subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, and please rate and review us 5 points, 5 stars for Binge Mode. Please follow us down to the lake on Twitter and Instagram at binge_mode, aka the underscore, and join our Facebook group, which is just for Binge Mode fans and which is an excellent place to share tips for how to spend time down by the lake.
Harry's got some ideas.
Does he? You know, he's got some ideas, but Ginevra has some actual methods.
Now he knows what a wet kiss is, truly. The Lord's kiss, am I right, ladies?
Well, Harry thought, the school year's almost over, but then it turned out he's got a lot more learning to do. He's got to take his O's. His O's.
Oh my God. Last time on Binge Mode Harry Potter, we explored how clarity shapes chapters 20 through 23 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And on today's episode, diving into chapters 24 through 26.
Yes.
Despite what the tone of the intro might indicate, this will be an intense episode. Requisite spoiler warning for today's binge as always. While those chapters are today's primary focus, we will, much like Ginny and Harry, be going
Deep.
on details from all 7 books and 8 films.
Take it all.
And the wide
Potter canon.
Take the whole canon.
Taking the entire series into account from the moment we breathe in the fresh, salty air. So slide off the boulder, swim toward the fissure.
Okay.
Because it's time to head, both metaphorically and literally, to the cave.
Oh, man. This is a sad episode. Sorry, guys.
Mal, if I tell you to hide, you will do so?
Yes.
If I tell you to flee, you will obey?
Yes.
And if I tell you to leave me and save the plot points,
you don't
you
know,
will do as I tell you?
You don't want spoilers. Run away.
In that case, let's
something
offer up a brief
bad and sad is going to happen to Professor Dumbledore.
The Scarlet Steam Engine to plot the Hogwarts Express.
Choo-choo.
After years of buildup, ever since they met at Madame Malkin's and then had a row on their first ride on the Hogwarts Express, Harry and Malfoy finally engage in a safeties off, no holds barred duel.
And with some help from a half-blood prince curse labeled for enemies, Harry wins. Oh, what a win.
Except that victory, heavy air quotes, leaves Malfoy in a bloody heap on the floor, with Harry in detention with Snape for the rest of the school year and having to stash his potions book in the room of requirement.
A win is a win. There is one silver lining, though, which is that after Gryffindor wins the Quidditch Cup with Harry in detention, he and Ginny kiss at long last.
Yeah.
And proceed to start dating. And spend some wonderful afternoons, down by the lake.
As the year draws toward a close, Harry receives a note from Dumbledore. It's go time. The headmaster has found a Horcrux hideout.
Unfortunately, on the way to Albus's office, Harry runs into Professor Trelawney, who reveals that Snape was the Death Eater who overheard half of her prophecy, thus dooming Lily and James to their deaths.
Oh, that's not going to go over well with Harry, is it?
I think he's going to take that personally, actually.
Harry and Dumbledore travel to a seaside cave where they penetrate Voldemort's defenses and collect what they think is the locket that they had come to find, but only after surpassing some excruciating obstacles that leave Dumbledore enfeebled and hanging on to Harry for dear life. Jason, if Isaac chooses to ignore the warning signs the cards show again and again, no matter how I lay them out, the lightning-struck podcast calamity disaster coming nearer all the time, there's nothing I can do about it, but it does get us to this episode's big idea. So let's dive into the pensive to sift through our thoughts. The defining theme of chapters 24 through 26 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is facing the darkness.
Chapter 24, Sectum Sempra. The next morning, an exhausted but delighted Harry catches up with Ron and Hermione on the prior evening's breakthrough. And they're impressed with his Felix-aided Slughorn work and positively awed about the Horcruxes and Dumbledore's promise to take him along for the next hunt. Ron has some news of his own. He and Lavender broke up.
Fucking finally.
After Lav saw what she thought was just Ron and Hermione leaving the dorm, fresh from doing whatever.
Oh my goodness, is Ron going to get with Hermione?
Hermione, clearly overjoyed by Ron's breakup, pipes up. She says, "It was a bad night for romance all around.
Do it.
Ginny and Dean split up too, Harry. Wink, 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 cough, 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 wink." The portrait hole push, air quotes, caused by Harry and the Felix was the last gasp for that already rocky relationship. I'm just going to go ahead and say now that if that breaks you up, you are headed for the breakup. Upon hearing this news, Harry's insides were, quote, suddenly dancing the conga. Harry's at war with himself over how to balance his feelings for Ginny, now a free agent on the open market, with his worries about, how Ron, his best mate, is going to feel about this.
He'll get over it.
He will. He'll have to.
As we've seen all book, though, there's one thing that occupies Harry's thoughts even more fully than Ginny. Draco.
Quidditch.
And when our trio gets back to the common room, it's to find Katie Bell healed and whole. And Harry, immediately, "No, how you feeling?
How are you?
Can I help you catch up on your studies?" He's just
anything you need.
Who gave you the
Who
necklace?
did
it? Incredible. She
Give
can't
me one
recall.
up.
Her last memory, she says, is of entering the bathroom with the 3 broomsticks. Still, Katie's return sends Harry falling right back into his obsession stranglehold, declaring that he's going to take more Felix, remember, he saved some, and have another go at the Room of Requirement. Hermione, thank the gods, points out what a colossal waste of the lucky potion this would be. Quote, "Luck can only get you so far, Harry," she says, noting that the Slughorn situation was totally different than what he's proposing here. With Slughorn, Harry always had the ability to have that conversation in that way. Felix just guided him, just showed him how. This is different. This is magic that Harry hasn't figured out. And the potion cannot break through that.
Pretty amazing.
She reminds Harry, by the way, that
that
he has another occasion coming up for which some Felix Felicis might be quite useful. The Horcrux hunt with Dumbledore.
It's kind of important. That's an important one. Don't you think, Harry?
No,
but of course, Harry can't shake this idea. So he's checks in with the Half-Blood Prince's advanced potion-making book and sees, just how hard it would be to brew some Felix. It would take 6 months. 6 months. Okay, so that's out. But as Harry is flipping through the book, he spots a corner folded over to mark the spell.
Where should I go?
Isn't that what this chapter's called?
That's right.
Oh, boy.
Which you will recall, as we talked about previously, is labeled for enemies. This is an incredible moment when he's like,
I don't even know.
Shall I just try this here?
Is there a whistle up here?
In the common area?
And what stops him? Literally, what's the only thing that stops him?
That Hermione happens to be there. I just love the idea that Harry was about to, decapitate Seamus or something.
That's not true.
But luckily, Hermione there keeps him from doing it.
Still, long time
Another
ago.
incredible quote here was considering trying it out on McLaggen next time he came up behind him unawares. Jesus, imagine if Harry had literally murdered McLaggen. McLaggen's intestines hanging out of his body. Speaking of our really terrible dude, Cormac McLaggen, Quidditch, at least, is improving. Ron's fit, which means no more McLaggen, and Katie's back, which means Dean is off the team until Harry's impending absence, that is. And thus there's no chance of squad drama between him and Ginny. Far from being lost in the darkness following her breakup with Dean, Ginny is the life of the party, mocking Ron and Harry and energizing the whole side. Ginny is not meant to be locked up. It may be cuffing season, but not for Ginny. Ginny's looking to cast off these cuffs.
Get out of
here.
here.
Harry keeps getting hit by bludgers because he can't stop staring at the auburn hair of Ginevra Weasley. From the book again, the battle still raged inside his head. Ginny or Ron? Come on. How hard is this? It's not even a battle. His good friend Ron. He's sure ultimately that Ron would consider it, quote, base treachery if Harry pursued Ginny, which is odd, really odd, seeing as Ron is like basically constantly trying to fuck Flem / Fleur every time he sees her.
Yes, his brother's fiance.
His like tongue is hanging out of his mouth at all times. From the book again.
Hearthstone.
However much his conscience ached, his conscience.
Yeah, is that what he calls his groin?
He found himself wondering how best to get her on her own.
Oh, Harry.
He's hoping for yet another Slughorn party because Ron won't be there. Tough look for Ron. Quite a change from scheduling practice against the Slug Club gathering, so Ron won't feel left out. But no invites come. He even considers asking Hermione for advice, but doesn't want to see, quote, the smug look on her face. Although he's pretty sure that Hermione's onto him already. You think so? I mean, she mentioned it directly to you while staring, like, into your eyes.
Also, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Harry,
she knows. Like, she's your best friend.
Continues to be quite slow on the uptake.
I find it very
Potter.
charming and winning that he struggles with romance this much, as we will talk about momentarily. Harry is sure that he is on the clock here. Quote, he had the nagging worry that if he didn't do it, somebody else was sure to ask Ginny out soon. He and Ron were at least agreed on the fact that she was too popular for her own good. I think she's as popular as she wants to be. Go get it, Ginny. Fucking boys. He's seriously considering taking Felix for this purpose now, to try, as Hermione had said.
All right, gonna play
tweaking the circumstances a bit. This is all high comedy, but also so truly charming because there is something immensely relatable about Harry's romantic foibles. He is literally the chosen one.
Yeah.
And he's a jock to boot.
Girls are throwing it at him.
Quidditch captain. Girls literally line the halls to try to kiss him.
Romilda Vane is out here like...
Yes. They are so eager to earn his invite to a holiday party that they smuggle illicit love potions into his candies. As Hermione said earlier in the book, when throngs showed up for Quidditch tryouts, he's never been more fanciable. Harry is a hot commodity. And yet he's utterly at a loss for how to try to land a date. A date, by the way, with a girl he's now known for 5 years and like been aware of for 6. Mm-hmm. A girl he saved from his good friend Tom. A girl who was so deeply in love with him for so long that she once couldn't be around him without turning a shade to match her hair and sticking her elbow into the butter dish. Ron complications aside, Harry shouldn't worry about pursuing Ginny or anyone else. And yet it feels like staring into the abyss for him. The darkness that will eat him whole, and not in a good way.
But Ginny is, of course, only part of this love triangle that Harry has. There's also his purest love, Expelliarmus, and of course the ever-distracting temptress, Quidditch. Excitement for the Gryffindor-Ravenclaw match is rampant, as it will decide the Quidditch Cup. Harry needs to win by 300 points. And Harry wants to win because he loves Quidditch and wants his captaincy to be a success, but he also can't help but think that a raucous, joyous after-party might be a great way of bringing him and Ginny just as good as taking a swig of Felix. He's still, of course, making time to hunt Malfoy, find out what Malfoy is up to, and a few days before the Quidditch match, he spots something quite odd on the map. Malfoy in the boys' room with moaning Myrtle. Oh, Draco! Remember what Myrtle recently said to Harry and Ron. A boy had been in there crying, feeling alone, bullied, and helpless. Harry dashes off to investigate.
Harry presses his ear against the bathroom door, but he can't hear a thing. Quietly, he pushes it open for a peek, and he spies Draco, clutching the sink, his head bowed. And Myrtle is asking him what's wrong, asking how she can help. And even for just this one moment that we get, this glimpse of Myrtle and Draco interacting, this is among the least likely pairings in the entire series. Draco's father, remember, put Riddle's diary back into circulation. The diary that opened the Chamber of Secrets. The diary containing the memory of the boy Riddle who murdered Myrtle at school. Draco and his father hurl the word mudblood at people like Myrtle with reckless abandon, with no concern
that is
for
pretty
the consequences. Not merely with cruel disregard for those people's feelings, but as an active effort to wound by making Muggleborns feel lesser.
Can't even see me. What happened?
And yet Draco is so alone with his burden, so crippled by the prospect of staring down death for himself and likely for his family if he stumbles. So resentful, as we will come to see in time. Cursed child, what's up? Of the weight that his father's choices put on him. So lost in the darkness of his failure to accomplish the task that Lord Voldemort set him, that he's turning to Myrtle, the least likely of confidants, for comfort. It's one of the rare moments until Hallows and, of course, Cursed Child, where we see Draco in shades, in degrees, absent his typical bravado, displaying not prejudice for once, but vulnerability. Quote, "No one can help me," said Malfoy. His whole body was shaking. "I can't do it. I can't. It won't work. And unless I do it soon, he says he'll kill me." The passage continues, and Harry realized, with a shock so huge it seemed to root him to the spot, that Malfoy was crying, actually crying, tears streaming down his pale face into the grimy basin. Malfoy gasped and gulped, and then, with a great shudder, looked up into the cracked mirror and saw Harry staring at him over his shoulder.
Ooh, wah, wah, wah. Draco whips around to face Harry.
Wow.
Draws his wand. Harry draws his too, and they trade
No,
spells.
thank
Bang,
you.
bang, bang. Myrtle is crying for them to stop. Harry tries to use Levicorpus and Leg Locker. And then as Draco, this should be noted, this is important. Draco says, "Cruci." Harry, facing the boy he's always thought of as an enemy, uses the spell labeled for enemies from the book. "Sectum Sempra," bellowed Harry from the floor, waving his wand wildly. Blood spurted from Malfoy's face and chest as though he'd been slashed with an invisible sword. He staggered backward and collapsed onto the waterlogged floor with a great splash, his wand falling from his limp right hand. "No!" gasped Harry.
Hopefully
He hurries over to Malfoy, who's gushing blood, his hands grasping at his chest, shaking uncontrollably. "No, I didn't." Harry's horrified by what he's done. He hates Draco, of course, but he doesn't want to actually murder him. He doesn't want to hurt others. He's repulsed by dark magic, not drawn to it. But here, in his anger and in the heat of the moment, he's accidentally used dark magic. It's contrary to everything he stands for. But perhaps most distressingly, it stemmed from so much of what he does believe in: trust, friendship, and guidance, which he believed he had with the Half-Blood Prince and his
screen capture.
Myrtle helpfully shouting that there's been a murder in the bathroom. Just as Harry's crouching in a pool of Malfoy's blood, Snape bursts into the bathroom, quote, his face livid. Snape, remember, has sworn the unbreakable vow to keep Draco alive, has agreed, as we will eventually learn in Hallows, to kill Dumbledore in order to spare Malfoy's soul the irreparable damage that murder causes. And now the other boy that he's secretly sworn to protect has reduced Draco to ribbons on the bathroom floor. Short of Voldemort finding Snape out, this is basically a worst-case scenario. Except Snape is no stranger to looking into the darkness, nor, by extension, to knowing what's necessary to emerge from it. He looked into that darkness so often and so deeply as a boy that, as we'll learn at book's end, he actually invented the spell that Harry just used, invented a way to maim people he loathed. Invented dark magic. Sectum, Latin for to cut. Semper, Latin for always. We will learn in Hallows after Snape slices off George's ear using the spell. A miss we'll realize in time that stems from Snape actually trying to save Lupin and wound a Death Eater. That the spell is so dark that the damage it does. And it's part of Snape, a part he worked to grow beyond and redeem.
All right, fellas. Hearthstone.
To use in time for good, as in the Seven Potters escape. But it is not a part that we can ignore, and not a part that he can forget. The darkness is with him always, and here he calls upon its lessons. The creation that he birthed so long ago as a lonely boy hell-bent on proving himself great and worthy. He pushes Harry aside and kneels over Draco, tracing his wand over the carnage that Harry's magical sword strokes made. Quote, muttering an incantation that sounded almost like song. This is a description worth considering. In this story, we often associate song with healing, with phoenixes, with Dumbledore, with
Sorry, I
good.
gotta go.
And though there is no overt